While I was lying in bed, I remembered that I have Aveyond 2 in my computer, so I decided to spend a few days and play the game. And Aveyond 2, Ian's Quest, is a game developed by Amaranth Studios, now known as Aveyond Studios. It's a game that is set in a medieval fantasy world. The player can play as Ian Ocko, the main protagonist of the story, and explore this top-down, powered by RPG Maker world that has to offer. First, we will be greeted by an opening cutscene, and the main villain was introduced to us, instead of revealing her later in the game and have us blindly dealing with the chaos and collecting evidence to play detective. After the cutscene, we will be given a tutorial for navigating in the game. Before that, we were given difficulty options. That will be easy, normal, and expert. The harder the difficulty, the more HP the enemy has. Easy mode allows full HP recovery when gaining a level. So for this playthrough, I went with the normal difficulty. Back to Elfwood. We have to find our childhood friend Iatiki, who went for the annual singing test that was judged by an oak tree. Unlike singers in the real world, singers in Elfwood have a duty to separate this town from the vices and vile elements from the land of man, where there is indeed a lot of men. Upon our arrival, we learned that Ia, granddaughter from a family of prestige singers, have in fact failed the test. Feeling disheartened might not be enough to explain the sad feeling of being rejected by an oak tree. To cheer her up, we got our first quest to harvest honey from a beehive, and you guessed it, battle tutorial time. We completed the quest as swift as a bee and went to bed. Next, a mystical snowy place was shown, and Ia was found standing there with the queen, and was shortly abducted by Her Majesty by promising Ia to bless her with strong magical power, which Her Majesty took advantage of Ia's complex of not having any magic despite her illustrious background. Ian, on the other hand, heard Ia's call of help during his sleep, only to wake up to an unusual, snowy hometown, and a town that has forgotten Ia. In desperation, we found the ribbon that Ian gifted Ia last solstice and head into the woods after an elder pointed out our assistance could be found there. In the woods, we have to shout out for our savior to appear, which is the oak tree. And here goes the following. So, your Pokebear has been abducted by the Snow Queen. Soon her magic will be stolen too. I thought she has no magic. Well, in fact, quite the opposite. She has immense but yet to be awakened potential. Head into the land of man to save your boo. The world depends on it. It's not called Ian's Quest for nothing. After that crash caused by the oak, we sallied forth across the snow mountains and into Cheyenne-Lair, home of the snow. We managed to walk around town before becoming an elven ice cube. Using the disguise we found in the mansion, we managed to sneak under guard detection and entered the castle, only to find Ia in princess clothing. Similar to the people in Elfwood, Ia also has her memory suppressed. Ian suppressed her memory by showing her the ribbon. However, Ia was still hooked by the promise of magic and refused to leave. We tried to find evidence, and by coincidence, the Snow Queen left a magic mirror for us to have a front row seat of seeing her turning every royal representative into popsicles. A very diplomatic move to wage war against the world, I guess. Next, Her Majesty would use Ia as tribute to obtain power. Now, knowing the promise was built on ulterior motives, Ia agrees to escape with us. We were nearly captured by the guards, thanks to Ia's magical awakening, which couldn't be possible by Ian telling her to use magic. This is the real fantasy, ladies and gentlemen, having the ability to do said ability after words of commandment. Through the sewers, we change our clothes and escape out of the city, which conveniently leads us to a hut where Ia faints, and we enter the house to ask help from the Oracle. The Oracle reveals that we're in a prophecy, which is part of the RPG plot, and we must train to face the unavoidable Snow Queen. Ia will have to train and learn magic skills, and Ian will have to be a diplomat and unite all countries, which is a minor role considered by the Oracle. After finding our way out of the mountains, we head southwest to a town called Riva, an agricultural town that boasts having the best produce on the continent, lies a young man that hungers, thirsts for adventure. We ask We just ask him nicely and have him accompany us. Luckily, he has a block of dynamite for us to destroy a perfectly placed boulder in the way to Thais, a major city. We will be heading towards shortly after this short detour to Ravenwood, just miles south of Thais, a settlement of lumbers and hunters. The key reasons for visiting this town is to catch the beast, collect the transfigurine, collect the dynamite. Back to Thais now. In Thais, notice this hexagram store. Stores like this can give Iya a sphere as a sign of aligning oneself to the many disciplines of magic. Without the goodie, I think it means marding. We can only defeat one of these and use one sphere. For now, we are way too weak for this, so let's head into the castle and receive a letter from His Majesty Prince Uta Pendragon. The king is still a popsicle at the moment. Eventually, we managed to sneak past the enemies in the woods and dealt with the ones when needed. Out of the woods is the city of love, Kandar. The number one most important thing to do in Kandar is to do this. We then delivered to Her Majesty Princess Ella IV, only to get another letter for the prince. Before leaving Kandar, I have bought a ring for Iya and paid Emma to quit her maid job to train in Thais. It is also worth mentioning that I found a block of cheese in the romance novelist's house. How peculiar. As a child, I didn't know this snow forest west of Kandar leads to Chandler, and it should be visited last. I learned it the hard way by getting pulverized and colored the snow in crimson red by the wolves. Yikes. Upon returning to Thais, we were sent under Dragon Dung to find Rip in Seri, a port city located to the east of the main continent. We began our arduous journey across a mountain path to be the Cyclops, ventured forth into Bogwood, a town filled with witches and warlocks. This is also another good time to mention that in the original game, the player could either keep Nicholas or Gavin in the party, due to them having opposing spells, Nick's being light and Gavin's being dark. This also could be fixed by using a goodie pack to patch this issue. I will keep Nicholas for now. Following that dispute and some quests in Bogwood, we traveled to the desert, home of impenetrable salamanders and poisonous scorpions. I have to applaud Rai for having his bow to pierce through their thick scales, as neither of the other members could even damage them under the skin. After dodging numerous desert dwellers, we finally arrive in Seri. Seri also has Chandler's guards guarding the port and halted all trade. We tried to shout profanities towards the guards, but was held back by logical reasoning to not do so. Back to business. We found a sharp-tongued, will of steel pirate, Ava. Turns out to be our lead to the next stage of resistance. Perfectly timed, she has a ship that's undergoing repairments inside the cave, and she needs us to collect dynamite, sails, and an anchor. With everything in place, we took Aya into our team of elven, farmer, noble, and criminal as our pirate navigator. With that all said and done, we can now set sail into the horizon and find the one piece the world has to offer. The first thing I did after obtaining the means to sail the high seas, I immediately started to backtrack for weapons, equipment, gold, and levels, just to hasten my progression through the story. It is also a good time to mention from this point onwards, I will do all the side quests that contribute towards a few extra options down the road. Moving on, we discovered the fact that Grimm's farm is going on sale, so we bought it and converted it into our headquarters. However, there is a big chicken in the orchard that needs to be dispatched soon, so we went on and dealt with it. The chicken dropped another figurine for Ian to transform into, which we did like second nature. We received orders from the Sultan to find something exquisite in order to free his forced-to-be fiancée. This is when the big chicken egg comes in handy. The Sultan changed his mind after witnessing such a humongous egg and released the girl so she could be with the one she loves. As gratitude, she bestowed us a love sonnet, which is what this gardener needs to let us in and find Seri, the nymph of love, to bless Iya. However, nothing has changed after her blessing, as Seri mentioned that Iya's love has not been stolen, so the blessing didn't work. Seri then gave us a love stone to give it to someone that needs it. Collecting blessings are also a main part for the story. However, they are all hidden behind some sort of side quest. Just like Hephaestus, we have to complete her side quest for the blessing of wickedness. Enough backtracking for now. We head straight to Land of the Lost, and found out the place we're looking for is hidden atop of the mountains. Unable to proceed further, we inquired Prince Uta, only to receive clues of finding the Oracle of Aveyond, who is hiding somewhere, quoted by Ren Pendragon herself. Ren is Uta's great-great-great predecessor. With a new lead, we head to the wildlands, but we're out of luck finding Serendipity, the nymph of luck. Turns out the Snow Queen herself tried hiding all the remaining nymphs to stall our progress. What's worse, since we're carrying her mirror around that we found in the castle, it worked like a tracker and knows where we have been to. After destroying the tracker, we found Serendipity being surrounded by strong trolls but were quickly pummeled by our tremendous power. We got a blessing when we visited her home pond. Events follow as we head to Storybook Island, where we find silver spoons and poker cards, and the people here live as if they're happily ever after. The nymph of hope, Iceling, is also gone. This also leads us into the Mist, a mysterious forest that Ia claims to feel a magical presence, and convinces us to venture deep into foggy territory, only to find a traveler's cloak, a rose, and a buried temple, which is what we needed to our question. That is, more side quests. Investigations led us to discover that this cloak belongs to a monster hunter who feigned ignorance when we asked him more about the mist. Thus, we used a well-timed event, that is the Ravenwood Beast display, to bait him out of his house and rescue this cool beauty by rewinding her transformation into a unicorn. With her help, we managed to enter the Aveyond Temple, where the Oracle has been waiting all this time without suffering from asphyxiation.
Asphyxiation.
She reveals yet two important details. One is to get a dragon to get to Erida, the city in Land of the Lost, and the fact that the Snow Queen is Ishtar, nymph of compassion. We have to get to her and receive a blessing, or we could never go home. What cruel fate lies ahead of us. She then gave us a key to enter a volcano for dragons, and we are off to hunt for dragons. The sails are up, and off we voyage to Fire Rock, home of the dragons. With some tactful sidewalking and overzealous firepower, we marched through the fiery path and found ourselves some fine dragons. With a dragon with us, we could practically go anywhere as we desire, as the possibilities as endless like the sky's horizon. Let's not forget why we needed it in the first place. Headed towards Land of the Lost, we found a place that could take us up to Erida, and we landed at the foot, started our expedition to the top. When we reached the summit, we were welcomed by a breathtaking view of an empty city. Despite it being in ruins, there lies a key and a book, where Nuha is found trapped within and needs a knowledgeable person to rewrite the empty book to free her. The key, however, is used at another room deep inside Little Rock Plains to get a blueprint. Ia also pointed out there's anti-aging magic being used to preserve this for centuries. That is what I call plot armor. With more clues now, we head back to Thais and found Rue, the historian, to write the book to release Nuha. In the meantime, I think we should travel around and do some side quests. The number one spot I need to go is the Land of Dead. To enter this place, we need to wait until Grandma Nora to become a new resident in Cascade Hill, so we could get a death certificate. One of the reasons of me eagerly wanting to explore here is to defeat this necromancer to obtain a cursed sphere, which power is only second to the Phoenix sphere, which I needed to join a discipline, and attain enough karma points to get it later. Enemies in the Land of Dead could be a bit tricky. Some are immune to magic while some are immune to attacks, and I made the classic blunder of equipping cursed gear that instantly renders the party useless, so I have to reload a save to escape the stuck situation I was in. The Land of Dead also has a vampire that drops the final transfiguring for Ian. We banish the vampire with ease and head out again into Storybook Island to solve a house of magic mirrors to save Iceling and have a blessing of hope afterwards. As time went on, Rue has completed Nuha's book, and we were able to release Nuha out of her book. We then delivered the blueprint that we found in Erida to Prince Uta. His engineer quickly realized that the inhabitants of Erida weren't humans, but in fact squirrels. The weapon of top secret was in fact designed for squirrels to maneuver. Who knew that The final piece of the weapon is just a smart squirrel. As we are approaching the end, I took my final chance to backtrack once more, such as collecting the Phoenix Sphere and upgraded ER skills by the level lever. Completed all attraction tests for Rye Emma, Ava Gavin, and Ian ER. Completed all side quests possible. Made Nicholas buy cheese for his citizens. Brought the whole squad to get married in Canada. Initially, I was worried about ER not being able to learn any more skills if she is at level 99. Turns out the level lever that I pulled does not account for this issue, and ER managed to learn all of the skills. Max tier for the Song Sphere, which is this green ball, the Curse Sphere, the black one, and the Phoenix Sphere, the gold one. It was also worth mentioning that by capturing the North Wind inside the Ice Cavern of White Pass, unlocks either a strong spell, that is the North Wind, or a beast repellent shield. I chose the former by bringing the wind back to the observer that lives north of Erida. This Northwind spell could only be learned by Gavin. With preparations completed, we ventured one last time into the Land of Dead and retrieved the Squirrel Commander to mount the futuristic Red Alert style combat machine to destroy Chandler's barriers. That also ended up destroying our weapon, the Squirrel, back to the Shadow Realm. For the second and final time, we charged into Chandler using Beast Repellent to repel the guards and barge into the Snow Queen's lair for one final showdown. Another blunder I made was attacking Her Majesty with an ice attack and healed her instead. In the end, she has fallen by our magic barrage and EI gave her love. I mean the love stone from Seri. Ishtar, the Snow Queen, blesses EI with compassion in return. Just as things were going good, a long-lost guest marks her return. Hephaestus showed up and decided to ruin it all after Ishtar, her co-conspirator, has failed. Without catching our breath, we nosedive into the final showdown with Hephaestus, since she cannot contain her wickedness and desire to ruin the world. After a few elixirs and potions, we managed to deliver our coup de grace to Hephaestus, ending this mess that started it all. Soon, the Oracle showed up and took all of the names and returned. Seeing our journey ends here, our companions bid farewell and left. The city of Chandler is now under the guidance of Prince Uta of Thais and Princess Ella IV of Kenda. Ian and Ia, having completed what they've set out to do, get married in Canada as well, before calling the Elder Oak to open the portal back home, and it's reunion time. The story ends where Ian and Ia have their wedding in Elfwood, and Ia shows her magic to prove that she has attained magical prowess, and her grandma quoted her a song mage, a variant of a singer. As they live happily ever after, the story of Aveyond 2 comes to a close. Thanks for joining me on this journey, and I will see you in the next video. And one final remark from me, I never thought that I still could find this game after, how long was it? 15 years ago. This game was released about 20 years ago. I can't believe that I still can find it somewhere, and I'm truly happy to be able to complete another game that was part of my childhood. Well, not mine, but I watched my brother play this game when we were kids, and at that time I didn't know it was so complex, that this game has a lot to offer that what we knew back then, and I'm glad that I did it.